What's up, my friends? Thanks for joining me on SERVi Homestead again. I am Dustin, and the tractor is dead out here. So my good old International 706D with the German engine gave me some more trouble. It was running okay for a while, and I tried to use it, and it just ran really poorly and died after like 20 minutes. And then a few days later I started up again, same thing, died like 20 minutes later. Last time I did that, I changed one of these fuel filters. I took both of them out. I could only find one at the local store, and put it in there, and it ran well for a couple of months and allowed me to kind of keep the grass at bay all summer. But now it's acting funny again, and the battery was weak and not strong enough to turn it over. These old diesel engines need a good strong crank because they're such high compression. So I have the old Chevy truck hooked up to it to boost it for a few minutes. So I will take this filter canister off and see what it looks like. Maybe it has some moisture in it, maybe it has a bunch of crust from close to the bottom of the tank, I don't know. I'm gonna catch it in this bucket and see what it looks like though. I was able to put a little downward facing extension on here because it's still making so much smoke right now. It was just blowing right back at me, even though I cut this elbow soon after I got it and re-welded it. It still wasn't aiming down enough. I mainly did that because the stack was so high I couldn't go under any trees really. So it's less of a hang-up hazard now. But I did this vent pipe from my brother to help all the toxic smoke go down a little bit, and it does help. It does help. I still need to get to the bottom of the bad running problem, but now I just needed to run it all so that I can cut the grass one more time before we actually get some true fall weather, and the grass won't grow as much then. And I need to build something to put it under. Right now I just put this tarp on top and anchor it down to keep the rain off of the seat and the instrument panel, but I'm gonna build some type of a shed that I can drive it under. Tractor, the little Yanmar YM240. He runs. It's hard to start, and it runs with a little bit of smoke and fumes, but not nearly like the old International. But I hit a stick that was pretty stout a few weeks ago, and it pushed the radiator, made it scrub against the blade, and actually the blade looks like it made a hole in the bottom of the radiator somewhere. Oh yeah, look at that. That's a serious gouge. So now I have to take it off and see if it's repairable, or if I need to just get another radiator. I may be able to solder it closed, because this one can handle grass like this closer to the house. Not so much the heavy weeds out where the red tractor goes, but if I had to, I could take it really slow. But this is like St. Augustine grass, like in the yard. It's just thicker and longer, and there's a chance of hitting sticks. So we would need a really big zero-turn mower to cut this, and maybe one day we'll invest in one, but for now we have the old Yanmar. So I disconnected this top radiator hose. It's cool, of course. I haven't run it in a week or so. And then this hose is loosened now, this little one. One quick tip: bring your screw clamp back here and then tighten it just a hair so that you don't lose it and that it doesn't come off when you take the hose off. So I'm about to pull this radiator and see if I can solder it. Alright, the radiator is off. Wasn't too bad. The main thing that holds it on is two bolts down here at the bottom and a little bracket right here. It doesn't look good though. Man. So this is aluminum or copper. I'm guessing the fins are at least copper. You can see how reddish they look. So what happens is the water gets warm because it's in the engine block, and there's a water pump that cycles it all around the system, through the radiator and through the hoses and all around the engine block and back through the radiator. The fan blows this way and draws air through the grill, through the front, through this. And this has so much surface area, there's so much water touching air that is a lot cooler than the water, that the water gets cooled significantly, goes back into the engine block and picks up a lot more heat. And you continue to dissipate the heat from the engine through the water into the air. Even if it's 98 degrees outside, it's still a lot cooler than 200 something degree water. So in this case, I thought I was going to see some copper pipes running like this back and forth and the cooling fins in between them, but it looks like the water actually flows through these upright pieces. They look like squished copper pipes almost. So that makes it tough because they got really damaged down there. See, they got smushed to the point of not sealing right here at the base unit. See that? I'm pretty sure this is a seal all around each of these. And then where this one got hit, I could see it was wet right there, so there is no seal. That one too. See all of that? Water has to flow through here. Man, it's not good. I will see what I can do. Hopefully I can put a whole bunch of solder down there and close that opening off. But I don't know if it's smushed so much that water won't flow down this one here for sure. This is the worst looking one. We shall see. I have my simple propane torch head, camping canister, good old flux that was already here in Grandpa's shed, and some good old Odie rosin core wire solder, which was already here. This stuff is probably from the 70s. Look how cool that is. 1 pound, 50/50 rosin core solder from Cleveland, Ohio. Forgot about the flux. Right, I've given it a good visual inspection, and it seems like solder blobbed up where I need it to go, and I'm hoping that it's all nice and sealed. I'm going to put some water in it and hope it doesn't leak out. If it does leak, then I'm going to have to let the whole thing dry and try to solder it again, because the solder won't stick if you have water in the pipe or whatever it is. In this case, it's the radiator. almost had a major boo-boo here. This fitting is something that I rigged up. This is actually a pneumatic fitting, like for a nail gun or something. And this pipe had broken off somehow. I don't even know how it happened. I had taken the radiator off to check the water pump a few years ago before we even owned this place. And when I went to put it back on, this fitting was just gone. So maybe I had dropped it, or the wind blew it down or something, and it landed on this thing and it broke off. So I screwed this thing in the best I could, but it was still wobbly. So I tried to solder it, and the solder never held really well. So just now I tried to resolder it, but it was just not sticking at all. It's still pretty much on there, thankfully, but all kinds of solder started dripping out. I realized it's from in here. So this final seam is filled with solder, and the heat was making it drip out. I sure hope it didn't remove it all the way in there. I still see a bead of solder in there, but this much came out. So that ain't good, but I'm hoping it's still all right. Let's go ahead and try it. And it is definitely leaking from the seam that lost its solder from the heat. Man, now I have to resolder that. Thankfully it's just a little 2-inch strip right here, but I have to wait till it all loses its water and dries.